Hello everyone, Harry Baldock here, editor for Total Telecom. We're here today on day 3 of Mobile World Congress. As you can see, everything is still in full swing. I'm delighted to be joined by Georgiann Reigle, the CEO of Kingfisher. Georgiann, how's the conference been for you so far?
Oh, it's been incredible. I think this is the biggest Mobile World Congress yet. Incredible excitement around AI and all the things that's going to allow us to do going forward, and just fantastic to be back in Barcelona.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you yourself have just come off a panel talking about consumer-led sustainability. Really exciting stuff, and I think lots of really great viewpoints that were shared. What do you think were the kind of key takeaways from the panel?
Well, I think what's so interesting here at Mobile World Congress is all the innovation that we're seeing, right? And the innovation is fantastic, and it's super exciting, and it's going to push ourselves forward as a society, as communities. However, there's a side effect to all this innovation that every time we want to upgrade, get into the latest, best technology, we still have the old technology to deal with. And the GSMA has estimated that in 2023, over 5.3 billion phones ended up in drawers and landfills. And so we have an interesting tension, and so we have to find ways to continue to drive innovation and growth and find ways to get those 5 billion devices back in circulation instead of ending up in the drawers and landfills, so that they're being used by other customers, other people around the globe, and lasting multiple lifetimes.
Yeah, it's a really interesting kind of dichotomy that we want new devices with the new technology on the one hand, but on the flip side, we need to become more sustainable. And I think the customer's kind of caught in the middle a little bit with this. How do you feel about getting them more involved and kind of how shifting perspectives from them to being more active in this journey of kind of a circular mobile device economy?
I think that the panel we were just on sort of addressed some of this, right? And this is the tension that we're looking at. How do we we need to do some education, first and foremost. A lot of customers don't know that how much carbon is involved in the manufacture of a device. They also don't know that the devices that are sitting in their drawer can actually be used and have value, not only in terms of cash that they might get by trading them in, but they have value to other people who can use those and get great life outcomes from having the access to these devices, right? So I think we have to do some awareness. Now, we launched an initiative at the end of last year called World Phone Amnesty, which is all about bringing attention to the idea of every time you get a new phone, hand in your old phone. Simple concept, but if we started to get all people everywhere aware of the impact that they can have by handing that phone back in, then I think we're starting to make some progress. But we have a long way to go.
Absolutely, and it's something I think we can only really do as an industry if we're all on the same path. Do you think in terms of Kingfisher themselves, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how you guys approach this and what maybe the kind of end goal is going to be? Is it going to be this almost subscription model of a smartphone where you kind of rent one for a certain period of time, hand it back in and trade it back in very quickly? Is that a future that you envisage?
Well, I think that there's a goal that we have, which is that for every new device sold, an old device is returned. And so we call that a one-for-one, right? And that's a pretty big goal, and as I said, we've got a long ways to go. We measure something called the circularity metric, and that is how many new device sales are accompanied by a return device. Trade-in programs today are a big contributor to that. However, that circularity metric globally is only between 5 and 10%. And that's just not enough. So we have to find ways to lift that much higher. A lot of times in certain places there's subsidy that's added to encourage customers to return their device, and that's helping. But the other thing that we see is that when you change the expectations of a customer when they first get their phone. So when I first get my phone, if I've got, okay, I'm going to pay this off and then I'll own it for however long I want to own it. That's the mentality most people have today, but that's not driving the return outcomes that we need. So what we found is when customers get a new phone and they they engage in the proposition of getting that new phone in a way that indicates that they will return the phone. So whether that is through a program with complete flexibility. So if you get your new phone and I tell you, don't worry, and by the way, I hope you like it, but anytime you want, you can come in and upgrade to the next one. And I'm going to make that valuable for you, convenient for you, and you're not going to be out a lot of money to do that, right? So then you're going to be so much more likely to turn in that phone when you're ready to get the innovative new device, right? So those types of programs can really change behavior. The other one is that's become quite popular around the globe, and in particular in Europe, we're seeing a lot of operators start to launch these programs, is around forward trade-in. And so that's where essentially I'm going to pay less per month than I would normally for a phone because there's an assumption that I'm going to turn that phone back in and upgrade it. And so then you start to move towards more of a subscription-like model, right? And so I think, 10 years from now, I don't think that we're all going to be buying phones on financing. I think we're going to be accessing phones.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, this kind of concept of getting the customer bought into the whole circular economy from the beginning. I think it's a really important thing, and hopefully in 10 years' time we're on a much better place with that.
I hope so.
Georgiann, thanks so much for your time today. It's been really lovely to speak to you as always.
Thank you very much, Harry.